Yeah, open with that earlier pool. Now, JonSnow, we've actually seen a lot of, whether we wanted to or not, be it through pretty much every IEM or WCS qualifier, combined with him being one of the few players who got into Copa America last year. He's a pretty good player, and truth be told, he's given some really big names like Major, amongst others, some runs for their money. But again, you're coming up against JonSnow, who is not only a crowd favorite but a ZVZ favorite.
Yes, yes. Apparently, that's one thing that just never falters for him. He gets ZVZ. It's completely different than Brood War 2, but apparently he got one that's matchup too. I don't know what it is, but it's magic. Now, JonSnow did not open up with the pool. That's a little unfortunate. He might. I mean, it really depends up to JonSnow, I suppose. He could get the cancel, almost guaranteed cancel, on the natural hatchery. But if he ducked in, maybe he could get a couple of drone kills too.
I mean, a 10 pull like this, without that initial gas, to not go for the banelings, to just go for slow lings, it is really risky. You're really hoping JonSnow messed up on his build order and played a little bit greedy, but I mean, for JonSnow as well, this isn't like, oh my god, I'm a scrub, I can never beat JonSnow, how do I do this? I mean, this is for him a calculated move. This is for him something that has won him ZVZs in the past that we've even cast.
Yeah.
But the question is, does JonSnow, get so bold as to not cancel this, or does he leave it up to buy time for his own lings? I mean, his spawning pool's still not done, no queen, no spine crawler.
So, not a ZVZ master, but I think he's comfortable going to canceling. Oh. Alright. I mean, I think if he canceled it, he'd still have enough time to get the lings out without taking too much drone damage. Or maybe I'm wrong on that one.
Maybe you wanted the one extra larva. Maybe these broodlings getting a couple hits for everything he needed. I don't know, but it did buy him time, that's for certain. Now, as he gets to the middle line,
I guess he did need that time, as it just, more drones would have gone down if it was another 10 seconds on the lings.
Now, it is 12 lings to 8, and it's kind of a clock tick. Once that queen pops out, JonSnow's going to be really hard-pressed to get any kills. He does split up his lings to go for drone kills, but JonSnow quick to that pull and doesn't really lose anything Fortress yet. Now he's down the hatchery. JonSnow's behind in workers, but he is going to have a base up on his opponent, and as he continues to drone behind this, by not over-dedicating to the attack, he was hoping to force JonSnow himself to over-dedicate in the response. So, as weird as it is, JonSnow, without killing any drones, does manage to get ahead in drones and a whole base up on his opponent.
Yeah, that is good. It's a good start. It's kind of a macro 10 pool there. Of course, it's obvious now it was in a baneling nest, right? I think JonSnow did see the hatchery go down. So he knows that his speed timing is probably going to be way faster. And I wonder if he's going to do anything with that. Make a couple of lings, try and get some revenge. Maybe make a baneling nest. I mean, he is getting his natural hatchery back, and he's droning up a little bit, but that doesn't, especially if he goes in and scouts a couple of these lings, he could still go into like a mid-game attack, or he might just try and match JonSnow in economy.
It's going to be difficult. I mean, the speed is normally a huge advantage out in the middle of the open, where there's a field of just, I don't prey for you to pick off, but 2 queens on the ramp, spine crawler in the mineral line, no less, and another queen popping out. JonSnow should be okay to hold his drones. JonSnow should be okay to at least trade evenly in a worst case scenario.
Yeah. There's not enough opportunity to. I mean, even if he got 10, 20 more lings, JonSnow would still have trouble breaking everything here with the transfuses as well. Really be baneling nest or nothing at all. But this aggression, it does supply block JonSnow. Just he got a little mixed up here, a little paranoid, so he's banking a lot of minerals. There's the drones that he needs, but JonSnow has been droning along actually all of this time. All of it. She's been droning, so he's going to be pretty much on par with JonSnow and gets a much faster third, too.
Well, I mean, this is often referred to as the game of thirds, and maybe it'll come down to it, maybe it won't. I am a little bit worried for JonSnow, though. He forewent gas for such a long time with his opener, and normally it's because you've got that extra gas, or the lack of gas, rather, you've got the extra minerals to play with, and that's the spine crawler right there. That's the extra queen right there. But it is a situation where it's not roaches or speedlings really denying the third. It's the fact that he just can't move out of his base denying his own third. Once he gets a little bit of map control, maybe he invests in a roach ward, and maybe tries to put a wall up at the front of a ramp. In fact, there we go. He's going to feel a little bit safer to move those queens forward, a little bit safer to get that spine crawler on the front lines, and this is where you start taking a little bit of control of the game back, and this is where you maybe try and take your own third. Now, I don't know if this Overlord's going to see it before dying, but it would be a big deal to see that JonSnow has started his third.
Well, Well, unfortunately,
There you go.
without JonSnow's own speed, there's not much he can do about Jaedong's third, and taking his own third is still going to be a little scary. Even despite opening with a 10 pull, killing the hatchery, this is looking like a very normal, like 9-minute game. Both people going into to Roach's similar lair timing, similar upgrades. Jaedong just has the much faster third. And a lot of that has to do with having that control with speed. JonSnow does push out, and he really wants to be able to get the third soon. He's got to try. He must slow Lings. Oh, he's gonna get an Overlord. Well, that's nice. That's 100 minerals.
Yeah,
not,
plus
not
he
really
lost
supply
his-
blocking.
Well, he lost his on the other side of the map, so it's like, payback.
Revenge. Ah, okay. That's where it's at.
Now,
Well,
he's-
slow Lings.
That's the thing, though, right? Slowlings, this is what I'm really focused on for this. It was really imperative he didn't waste gas trying to get a later metabolic boost, because it's the only way he was going to keep up in Roaches. There's a lot of times we just see this game and no matter how close of attention you're paying as a player, sometimes you're just like, wow, okay, I'm apparently down 15 Roaches, GG, I'm dead. And that's one of the problems when you start investing gas in needless upgrades like metabolic boost. So it's a situation where Jaedong's on a third faster and sooner, and his Roaches come out better, but Defender's location, Defender's advantage even, it goes a long way in this matchup, and I think JonSnow could take a defensive fight for some time at least, until that Roach gap gets like, difference of
Sure.
10 or 15.
Sure. But I wouldn't consider Jaedong's metabolic boost upgrade useless. It really did do a lot for him just in pressuring JonSnow. I mean, even if that forced him getting supply blocked, banking 400 minerals, and that in itself is almost worth it. But he's not going to be able to cancel the third. Didn't make enough Lings for that. Just went right into Roaches, basically.
Yeah, I
To
really
be
don't
able
like
to
that
defend
move.
this attack.
I don't know why JonSnow felt the necessity to go for this aggressive push. Maybe try and just put some pressure and say, Jaedong, look, I actually have a force to be reckoned with. Don't mess with me. But either way, there's no way he takes those Roaches on. But with Queens at home and a Spine Crawler possibly involved in the fight and Transfuses going down, JonSnow can and should be able to take this fight. They're both on +1 weapon upgrades. Jaedong, there's no way he fights into this. I do kind of hope JonSnow knocks down the cooling tower, because that does leave his third vulnerable from another angle.
Yeah. That was dangerous from Jaedong, but they both disengage and still quite an even game. JonSnow is down a couple of drones. Still about 9 is both making the similar amount, so that might be a little worrying. Or it might just mean it's one good fight away from not really mattering. But we have faster upgrades for Jaedong. He's got the second Evo chamber a little bit faster. I wonder if anyone's going to go in for Burrow here, as they both they survived the Ling stage. They survived the Roach stage. They might go on a little bit longer with the Roaches, but who will go for that second tech first? Whether it's Infestors, Hydras, Banelings, or Burrow with Tumbling Claws.
Well, Jaedong has a small lead on those upgrades. The Carapace can be really nice to have, but truth be told, with the passive game that Roaches tend to be, we may not actually see that come into effect. He might actually hit at a timing, though, where he'll have this, as he is pressuring the middle of the map, but, I mean, again, it's one level of upgrade. With Defender's advantage on your side, it can go a long way. JonSnow did knock down the cooling tower. The debris field doesn't guarantee you a defense, but it does buy you time if you're out of position, which is always nice to have. It does limit a path that JonSnow himself can take, but again, he's really going to want to force the fight in this general location. With 2 ramps feeding in from reinforcement points, it'll be really easy to have a concave on his side.
Well, Jaedong is going to have these 2-1 upgrades a little ahead of JonSnow. Or I guess their 2 attacks going to line up pretty evenly, but still, an upgrade ahead.
I just realized their Archon name, if they played together, would be JonDong.
Or JSnow. Ever think of that? Oh.
No, because I'm focused on JonDong.
Anyways, but the key differences here is that not only does he have the upgrade lead, but Jaedong did not go into Pathogen Glands and Infestation Pits. That's a lot of gas and minerals that he didn't use. And he's only getting Burrow right now, not even Tumbling Claws. Is this enough to break competitive advantage? I don't think so.
No, it's the Roach count for Jaedong is really high, but they're funneling across the map, right? There's a couple transfuses going down. Spine Crawler soaked up some of those hits, but the +1 Carapace upgrade might be coming to a little bit better of effect than we gave it credit for. It is winning him a good chunk of the fight, but again, so much of his reinforcements have to travel so far across the map, and if JonSnow could just stay on somewhat even footing, well, maybe not.
Break him.
He is. The concave on the bottom side is
gosh.
definitely a lot better than the concave on the top. It might want to draw to the main, to the natural. Just reconsolidate his forces, have the Queen soak the hits. JonSnow in a lot of trouble. His upgrades finish up, but Jaedong's finish up at the same time too, so 2-1 over 2-0. However, it looks like he will hold on to this game. He lost some Queens for it. He lost the Spine Crawler for it. And he is down in supply, but not out of the game just yet.
Not yet.
+2 Carapace upgrade in lieu of Infestors. We'll see if those can make up that difference. I mean, lots of area of effect damage, holds them in place. You build your own concaves when units are stuck in position.
Well, using Burrow to heal up is a cool move. Again, I don't believe he has Tunneling Claws, so no harass is going to go down. Kind of a hard map to harass, but an Overseer in the middle, and you basically covered all your points. A lot of the cooling towers are down. I guess there's another attack path, but still pretty consolidated for your army. But these Infestors have quite the job to do. There's only 4 of them, and they're about to pop out. Is Jaedong going to be clumped? Is he just going to roll over, and before the Infestors are popped and worth it?
That's a great fungal. That's a lot of damage going down, but is it going to be enough to make up that roach count? It's 45 over 17, and JonSnow just has nothing to work with. No Spine Callers behind, his queens are going down, and Jaedong, he's just the master of CBC. Game gonna GG, well played. Game gonna go to Jaedong. Got some Porky Pig going on at the end of the game. Good game, folks. That's all. Of course, that's not going to be the end of the series. That's just game 1 in a best of 3. Refreshing the brackets to see what our other match is going to look like. So, because I'm not going to lie, I'm starting to fall apart after a very long day of casting. Winner of Masa versus Semper goes on against the winner of Xenocider versus Zeal. Neither of those matches determined just yet, so we will have to wait and see what the other semifinals match is. But again, it's this best of 3, one more best of 3, and then we wrap up the cast for tonight. Not before, though, we go to tomorrow, where, oh man, we're going to be casting more WCS with Europe. But we're going to play an ad break, and I'm sorry that the ads have been so frequent tonight. Again, guys, a lot of what we do on the channel to make money is play the ads or get donations, and we really relying on ads tonight because we don't get paid to cast these events. So I thank you kindly. For those of you that do watch, don't feel guilty if you don't. I just hope you're enjoying the show, and we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Game 2. All right, folks, skipping past the intro and hopping directly into the game as it is already underway. Welcome back for Game 2 in this qualifying round. He's up 1 point, he's got his opponent on match point, and he might just lock his entrance down into WCS Season 2. It's Evil Genius's Jaedong.
Its opposition as the Red Zerg, it's JonSnow.
All right, JonSnow perhaps didn't have the best game of his life. He did play well to a point, but I didn't disagree with his opener too much. I really don't think it was the earlier pool that set him back so much as just that later third.
Yeah, the slower third hurts. He did have a point where he was just low on drones compared to Jaedong, and I think that started to reflect in the sudden, 20 supply increase Jaedong
Yeah.
showed while he, went in for that attack that it looked like the Finner's advantage would do. Maybe if that spine
Well,
crawler hadn't been immediately sniped, it would have done something.
Well, there's that, plus all the queens were on the front line, so there's an inject or two missing here and there. It's just
That's
all
true.
these little things slowly adding up to the point where, yeah, the first fight went okay, but there was no recovery for the second attack.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not gonna have kind of an odd opener to, I guess, mess things up, I guess, in terms of like, how you determine the game is going. And it's going to be pretty standard hatcheries. Jaedong not going for gas as early as JonSnow. I wonder if that means anything. Jaedong can be a player that goes gasless. Can, not usually though.
I was gonna say I can't remember a time we've seen him play gas.
There's like
lately,
one or
right?
two. I mean, I might be thinking like ZVP, but I'm pretty sure he tried once or twice. Because Jaedong certainly isn't like, he's not totally stubborn. He'll try Stormhost and be not that great with him at first. And he'll try gasless and, maybe not do so well there either. But, for instance, speedling seemed to be Jaedong's thing, but we cast him today in this qualifier, not going for speed. We went right up to roaches. So we can switch it up.
Yeah, I actually just go back to the point of gasless too. There are some players who play gasless really well in ZVZ. Betrayus is one of many that come to mind that was playing it for a long time like that. But I think a lot of it really hinges on knowing what your opponent plans to do. I think gasless is the greatest, strongest defensive opener, but it has such a hard time catching up to the mid game. But once it does, you're really on a good footing with your opponent. And if JonSnow was this player who revealed that every time he ever played, it was a 10 pull and a 10 pull Baneling and a 10 pull again. Maybe Jaedong does play gasless, but he's still going gasless, and I don't know the reasoning for it. It's Van Eye Research Station. It's a map you definitely want to get that third on. But safe than sorry, I guess. Get as much drones as possible early on.
It's possible he's just going to do, like, he's going to try and get away with the... Oh, there's the gas right now. Oh, double gas. It's around 5 minutes, so that's actually normal. But still, it's possible that he's just going to try and get away with a third that would usually be killed by speedlings, but hoping that because it's kind of close to the ramp, maybe he'll get a spawn coil down there, he'll be able to save it and go into the mid game. That gases does sometimes have trouble going into. Or the other possibility was that he was going to go into an all-in, which I think is the coolest way to play. And like, oh, I'm totally going to macro. Psych! Baneling all-in.
Yeah, in fairness, though, I do love those moves out of any race, not just ZVZ, though, where you do kind of trick your opponent with information. It's so hard to do. Starcraft 2 players have been doing this for years. They've been studying the game from start to finish. I mean, you just can't trick them. And the one time you do and it pulls off well, it's like a bank heist. Just gun check Freddy and all that. Yeah.
Jinx!
Gun check does nothing.
You don't hear soda.
Man, I'm sorry, I know what pop is. What's soda?
Cola. Pop.
Coke? Is Pepsi
Coke.
okay?
Soda. I've never heard someone say I don't know what soda is, If I said pop and you're like, I don't know what that is, then that's understandable, but...
Soda's such an American thing. Ugh.
Is it really?
Yeah, do you actually not know that? It's pop in Canada, it's soda in the States.
Well, it's pop in like Pittsburgh, for instance, like it changes in state to state, but it's like soda was like the overarching term. Anyways.
Very important details.
Right?
We have the Carapace upgrade actually coming out of Jaedong here. I mean, this isn't bad because it kind of goes many different directions. It'll cover for the Lings, it'll help with the Roaches. But perhaps he was really expecting a lot of Baneling aggression. No, he's going +1 melee weapons as well. Okay, this is gross. This is wonderful. And I love, Katz is one of the few players who will pull this off. And the +1 Ling damage, okay, it trades out pretty well versus Roaches that are unarmored. But also, additionally, it tears down buildings really well with that +1 melee upgrade.
I love it. I love it. So this is kind of the deceit going on right here. JonSnow, I don't even think he's going to bother trying to scout with an Overseer. Now, that is a lot of Lings to show. I mean, if he thinks Jaedong isn't that good, he might be like, oh, you overreacted. You got slow Lings. Are going to be useless because you wanted to get Roaches. But it's going to be, well, I guess he is getting Roaches, but it's still going to be heavily upgraded Lings, and a lot of them. Maybe this is just going to be the follow-up if this doesn't do enough damage. The Lings are still a-coming. The upgrades are only halfway done.
I really like the +1 on this. The melee upgrades just go so far when you have this many Lings. Look at the surround on the Roaches,
So
plus
many
your own
Lings.
Roach damage.
He knows. He's got to know those are going to turn into Speedlings like any second right now. I'm surprised he doesn't have done a Baneling Nest.
Well, there's that plus the fact that, man, Jaedong just has no drones, and I don't know how you scout this without getting directly in that base. You could assume, like, okay, you made a lot of Lings, and maybe this is an over-dedication or overreaction, but
Well,
no way JonSnow is that stupid to think that this isn't an all-in of some form.
Well, yeah, now he knows, right? But what you can do is you can get a defensive Baneling Nest just in case, you know? Like, even if you think you scouted gases, you know, when they're double upgraded
Look
roaches,
at these just
you
tear
still get the
apart that
Baneling
ramp.
Nest.
I mean, the roaches are going down. The queens are trying to hold what they can. He should be able to get a kill on that third while this goes on. And as the units come away from the ramp, it opens the ramp up, so it comes in for a big surround. Well, the little queens and roaches there are going to try to hold, but that's a big surround.
The upgrades weren't there. If they were there, I think a lot of those roaches go down a lot faster, but there are more links still in the way, and finally those upgrades do kick in. He didn't get the third, though. Like, if this is actually, held, that they're still alive, JonSnow would have failed.
There's more lings, and that +1 will finish here in a second. I actually kind of thought he was going to go up the ramp, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah,
go for that mineral line.
I agree.
Still getting surrounds on the roaches. +1 weapons is now done, and JonSnow finds himself without upgrade, so not exactly super squishy, but JonSnow really needs to consolidate these links, because right now, funneling into it at a time, it's not dealing with the roaches, and JonSnow, as you pointed out, still holds that third.
I think it wasn't a bad move, and it still isn't. You could still macro out of this, maybe, although not having that... oh, it does have a lair. Never mind. He's getting roach speed, but still, like, you know, being low on drones is kind of bad. Van Nuys Research Station is a map that, you know, the third's really not that far away from the ramp, and, you know, 3 roaches do clog it up. It is an interesting tactic to use, and JonSnow maybe hoping for just far less roaches, you know, and then he would have really done a lot of damage.
I think he'd just go for the surround and kill this. I mean, the amount of roaches here would eventually kill the lings, but it's already half health. It's less than half health. With +1 upgrades, he tears through that, but I guess not willing to dedicate too much of his army. He did manage to catch up in drones, curiously enough, while this was going on. He's going to be down in roaches, but that's that macro hatchery coming down, hoping to make up that difference a little bit later down the line. But still not going for a kill on that third just yet.
No, maybe waiting. I mean, the thing is, as long as the lings are alive, eventually JonSnow should be pushing out. And if he doesn't, he never pushes out, then JonSnow's just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna get back with the drones. So you just stay right over there then. So you know, JonSnow, he's gonna have to be really careful if he does push out. He's gonna have to leave a couple of roaches back at home. He's gonna have to be careful just actually engaging. Does he have roach speed? Yeah, okay, he got it a long time ago.
The Overseer are probably going to go down to the Queens if not careful. Changeling gets pooped out on the run. Slaughtered, poor thing.
Poor thing.
If there was an animation for the command center landing on something, it would be the Changeling death animation.
Sure. Oh, JonSnow going for Roach Baneling.
I mean, he got some drones up, but sticking with the same mentality, might just go for the all-in. It's a really dedicated attack, but if you can do enough damage to the roaches, I mean, they clump, they cluster hard. They will eat those banelings.
Yeah. And since he didn't use the lings to attack the third, and I guess he won't be using them as a counterattack either, he'll not have enough to, of course, morph as many banelings as he wants. Got a lot of gas in the bank, just needs to, you know, wait for the minerals a little bit. He did get up to 64 drones, so he has now beaten JonSnow in that, but JonSnow did have him, you know, for a little bit longer, so JonSnow still up in supply, but very defensive, and I think JonSnow might be given enough time to equalize that army. And JonSnow, it's kind of like, you know, damned if you do, if you don't.
Yeah. I mean,
you push out, lose the third, or you cannot push out and give JonSnow a lot of time to recover.
We always talk about quantity being the biggest factor when it comes to roach fights. And most of the time, I definitely think that's the case. But JonSnow's not only going to have 2-2 over JonSnow's 2-0, he still has those really effective lings. He's going to be able to flood them, too, if he starts running out of gas for the roaches. I don't know how this fight's going to go, but JonSnow does have the roach lead by a very large margin.
There are the lings. I mean, the lings can either turn into banelings right now, or they try and counterattack. I think he thought there was going to be enough time to turn into banelings, so he just sent him across the field, going to catch some reinforcements. That's nice, too.
Yeah. But can JonSnow hold with what he has? I mean, it's a ton of roaches versus a ton of roaches at a quick eyeball glance. It looks good for JonSnow. His upgrade's not done yet, though, so he's fighting 2-1 versus 1-1. And the Spine Caller will being transfused like crazy, getting some damage on the backside. Lings did a good job with stalling out / killing some of the reinforcements, but there's still so many roaches on this side of the field. If JonSnow consolidates, he still has a roach lead. But actually starting to dissipate as he loses these ones on this side of the map.
Not the best trade on the edge for JonSnow there either. He did lose the one command, a lot of transfuses, and a lot of... Oh, but what was that? What was that?
The move command? I don't know, man.
What the heck?
That was the panic click. Trying to focus down the low roaches and misclick just once.
Oh, no. Oh, everything is back to even, and now those upgrades...
Still not entirely in play. They are in seconds time here. But I guess one of the things is JonSnow does... you know, at the back end of this, get that roach lead back up. So it's a little bit awkward because he did have a lot sort of trapped in JonSnow's midst. But backs away from this, and both players have a third, neither with a fourth. That macro hatchery played really well into getting those reinforcements out. But JonSnow finds himself in the same situation as JonSnow, where they just don't have the money to pump out 15, 17 roaches at a time.
Not yet. JonSnow is the first to throw down a fourth base. JonSnow should be shortly in the back of that, probably in a similar location. I don't know if either of these guys are going to be bold enough to take a gold. I mean, if anyone would, it would be JonSnow, because he has the speedlings that would deny JonSnow should he take one. But speaking of speedlings, I want to add a couple more. There's 24 on the production tab as Central Hooks is finishing up. Okay, felt some lag.
So, just we got a bit of downtime here. I don't know if anyone here is from the lower mainland British Columbia, but I think after tomorrow's WCS qualifiers, I'm going to try and make my way downtown for the Vancouver Twitch meetup. So, shout out to any Bay Straight TV fans who might be in the area. It's at the EXP bar, and I hope to see some of you guys there.
Aptly named Experience Bar.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. BC liquor laws are really stupid, so you have to check your phone and stuff in because it's got games on it, and for some dumb reason, gambling is covered as gaming, so you can't have a gaming bar.
Oh, yeah, that's the same thing in like DC, I think, or Maryland. Oh, anyways,
They're apparently gonna have a Kappa shot, by the way. I can't wait to see what that looks like. It's purple drink.
I've always wanted to go to a restaurant or whatever that had those like themed drinks or themed food. Never gotten a chance to.
Well, we'll talk about that more after the game. Right now, we do have the collision coming down. JonSnow does not have the Roach, or he does have the Roach lead, but he doesn't have the Banelings. JonSnow does. However, the Banelings are not crashing into the heart of the Roaches. Kind of catching a lot on the side, but oh my god, that connection on the left side looks really good. JonSnow still up in Roaches. Is the finish advantage going to be enough, though? More Banelings still throwing in. Like, where do these even come from? The Banelings are actually doing a great job of taking out the Lings. And JonSnow somehow takes that Roach lead. He's on 2-2 over JonSnow's 2-1. 2-2 just finishes up for JonSnow after the fight is finished, but JonSnow's got 26 Roaches coming out a second time. This might be able to hold if he consolidates, if he can minimize his losses here. Oh, this is really messy for both sides. JonSnow is really overextended. Getting his own reinforcements across the map, not going to be easy, but invested a bunch of legs, because guess what? They're fast. They'll get there. They've got +1. But even then, JonSnow still has a ton of Roaches. He didn't take a lot of drone losses. In fact, there's only one drone that's died this whole game from either player.
I wonder, like, JonSnow started to add in a couple of speedlings on the back of that. He does have a Baneling nest, either trying to go into his own Banelings or just hoping that maybe 6 of his would kill all of JonSnow's Banelings. They didn't really get the chance to use them, though, and they just were useless fodder.
Well, the attack getting a little bit choked. JonSnow having his own hatchery really work against him here. And JonSnow is just taking a massive lead in the Roaches. It took a little bit of time to get here, but I think he's done it. JonSnow's just got no way to break this Roach count. It's single target, no splash. That bailing attack was aggressive as hell, and it paid off. And JonSnow, ladies and gentlemen, moments away from qualifying for Challenger League, WCS America / Canada Qualifiers, I guess, Season 2, 2015.
Well, I guess the #1 seed curse doesn't affect JonSnow.
No, because I told you, the precedence of him finishing second, as he only had to win a semifinals match to get through, rides the top seed curse, I guess. Like, JonSnow is more destined to finish in a semifinals